Game 2 on a Saturday afternoon, I should say, in Blacktown from Blacktown International Sports Park. Bluesox and Cavalry. Cavalry taking game 1 10-7. And we are underway, short and sharp for the opening of this second game. Andrew Moritz leading things off against Tim Atherton. Back in Sydney. Things have come full circle somewhat for Atho since the last time he pitched in a Blue Sox uniform. This one tapped foul off toward the right side. Atherton has played for each of these two teams. Played for Canberra, Sydney, and Brisbane. The last time he was wearing a Sydney Blue Sox uniform was the 2012-13 season when he was the ripe old age of 22. Rounder right side, and that'll get through for a base hit. So Moritz leads things off with a single. Was aboard a pair of times in that game earlier today. It was a sharply hit ground ball through the right side. And the Cavalry, who scored 10 runs in the first 2 innings, looked to get on the board early here in game number 2 is Ed Howard, the Chicago Cubs farmhand and first-round pick in 2020, stands in with a man aboard and nobody out here in the first inning. First offering to him from Atherton is in for a called strike. Atho, of course, spent 5 seasons in Brisbane from 2017 through to 2023. And now at 34 years of age, the Kempsey, New South Wales native is back in a Blue Sox uniform. This one's flared into right field, and that's down for a base hit. And it's back-to-back singles to begin the ball game. Boy, this looks mightily familiar to what we saw back in game number 1. Cavalry put the heat on early, and they appear to be doing that exact same thing against Tim Atherton here in game number 2. Cam Warner, who was very good at the plate in game 1, will stand in with an RBI opportunity and a chance to give his team an early lead. First to him, a fastball that misses off the inner part of the plate. Well, it's been 12 seasons, 12 years as the calendar will show, since Tim Atherton has donned a Blue Sox uniform. Of course, former captain of Team Australia. He and Tim Kennelly co-captained that team to a quarterfinal appearance in the World Baseball Classic just a few months ago. Anybody but Cuba. Why do we continue to get Cuba in these tough international contests? That one's fouled away back behind home plate. Australia, of course, beating Korea, knocking Korea out at the pool stage in that World Baseball Classic. And I think myself, along with every other Australian baseball fan, saw whenever we drew Cuba and said, here we go again. Seems like every international competition, when a big game dawns, a chance at a trip to Miami in the semifinals of the World Baseball Classic were in front of us, and it was a tough Cuban team that the Australians just couldn't get past. If I have to watch Alfredo Despaigne hit one more time against Australia, I'm not going to be happy. That guy has destroyed Australia in international competition in the last half a decade. Here's a fly ball into center field. Solo McGuire is tracking it from right center. This could score a run, though. Moritz tagging up from third. The throw is cut off at first base. And it's an RBI for Warner. It's his 4th of the day. He had 3 earlier this afternoon. And he starts the ball game with a sacrifice fly and a run driven in. It is 1-0 Canberra early. Tell you what, Cavalry fans will be happy with what they're seeing offensively. Things did go cold for them once the Blue Sox bullpen came in to keep things close. But runs have come with relative ease for Canberra this afternoon in Blacktown. There's a pair of good mates, Team Australia representatives. These two have been battery mates plenty of times wearing the green and gold. Robbie Perkins did not play earlier today, didn't play in Game 1, but is getting the start behind home plate here in Game 2, as is to be expected. Let your veteran catcher put on the gear under the lights as things start to cool down. It was a 34-degree day. Temperature has cooled to now a balmy 29 degrees. Nothing in one pitch. A fastball that's spoiled back behind home plate, and it's 0-2. Getting a good look at Joe DeLuca, who was instrumental for Sydney in Game 1 today as well. Slugging catcher. He did not catch Game 1, but he, as Perkins will do for Canberra, is catching Tim Atherton here in our second game of the double dip. Runner going, and it's skied. Into right field. David Candelas is there. He may have lost track of it momentarily, but Candy ends up making the catch. And there are two away. So there was just a moment of uncertainty here for Candy, but once he was able to play at the feet, all's well that ends well. Goes down in the book as an F9. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Just the amount of strangeness in the player movement between these two teams. We see David Candelas, who, of course, spent so many years playing for the Canberra Cavalry, making a catch for the Bluesox in right field. And now Michael Campbell, who won a Rookie of the Year several years ago for the Bluesox, now stands in wearing a Cavalry uniform. In this day and age of player movement, you better pay attention. If I'd been calling this game after living under a rock for 5 years, it'd be like the Weirdo Jerry episode of Seinfeld. Throw gets away here as Howard probably should have been picked off. He was dead to rights midway between first and second base, but the throw just went a little bit awry. Will Stay put it first. Howard does possess speed. It'll be interesting to see if and when he does use it here. We saw him try and take off. He was 4 of 5 in the 45 games that he played in the Midwest League for the South Bend Cubs in 2023. All up in his professional career in 3 seasons, has only been caught stealing 3 times. Ground ball up the middle to short should be the inning, and Twinellis underhands to righto. And the top of the first comes to a close, but a sac fly from Cam Warner. His hot day continues, gives the Cavalry a 1-0 lead as we head to the home half of the first.
It's a real person. There he is. Wow. Mark LeClaire. Good on you, Mark. Way to be a real guy. University of Tampa. To the Houston system last year. They get the weirdest things.
Well, there haven't been many instances today in which the Cavalry have not led on the scoreboard. They pushed 3 runs across in the top of the first in game 1 of the double dip, and they have an early 1-0 lead as we head to the home half of the first. Mark Moclair, starting pitcher for Canberra in this second game. He's facing Raito Aikita, who had the final put out of that top of the first. The 1-0 to Aikita. Missing high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Mark Moclair, a 26-year-old right-hander, has been out of affiliated baseball for about a season and a half. So next to Aikita misses. 3 balls and no strikes. He was originally drafted by Houston in the 12th round back in 2018 out of the University of Tampa. He was part of the Houston Astros organization up until last year. Was released in 2022 after reaching as high as Double-A, as Aikita will draw a leadoff walk to begin the home half of the first inning. Moclair most recently has spent time in the Frontier League with 2 different franchises. He finished off 2022 after being released by Houston and Lake Erie and made 19 starts. This past season again in the Frontier, but with Sussex County, where he had a respectable .424 earned run average in 108 innings pitched. Canberra have a knack of finding these guys that have just recently been out of affiliated baseball that they can bring to Canberra. They've got to spend some points on them. Moclair would be a 4-pointer, but if you can find some of these mid-20s, 25, 26, 27-year-old starting pitchers that have spent a lot of time in affiliated baseball, they might be an independent ball, they can give you a quality start just about every night. Think about a guy like Frank Gailey that had so much success in Canberra. Might Moclair have much the same in 23-24? Well, if the start is anything to go by, he's been a bit erratic. Back-to-back walks to begin this first inning. First, Raito Aikita. Now Solo McGuire will trot down to first base. And here now is David Candelas, who gives a fist pump and a smile to Robbie Perkins, as you might imagine. Those 2 guys have spent plenty of time together the last decade or so, both as members of Team Australia, but also, of course, team members, longtime team members of the Canberra Cavalry. Candelas was a Bluesox before he was a member of the Cavalry, and he is a Bluesox once more. Did not play earlier today, so getting his first bit of action of the afternoon in Game 2. The 1-0. There's a strike from Moclair. Be a confidence builder for the right-hander. Did play 4 seasons across the minors and had an ERA just under 4.5, so he was certainly serviceable while he was in the minor leagues. 1-1 pitch missing inside, 2 balls and a strike. And as talked about, reached as high as Double-A. Got the call up in 2021. He did appear once out of the bullpen, only threw 1 inning, and things didn't go well for him. He was promptly sent back down to High A. Two-one pitch, in for a called strike, 2-2. Like I said, the Canberra Cavalry and Keith Ward, they just have a knack of finding some independent arms that can come down and give them very serviceable innings in their starting rotation. 2-2. That went well high and inside. It got away from Moclair. Both runners will advance 90 feet. And David Candelas just breathing a sigh of relief that his head's still attached to his shoulders. We've seen a bit of this today. We saw it with Min Her on the Sydney side earlier, with perhaps just having some trouble with clumps of clay on the mound. Has been an incredibly hot day here in Sydney, so mound may have that extra 10-20% water on it than what these players are used to. This one's slashed foul down the left field line. Wasn't foul by much, 2 or 3 feet. It might be contributing to why you're seeing these starting pitchers struggle at the beginning of these ball games. Noticed it whenever Tim Atherton was taking his warm-up pitches ahead of the top of the first. Banging his boots down atop the rubber to try and relieve them of some of those clumps of clay inside the cleats. 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Pulled the string on Candy. One pitch after nearly doubling in a pair. He strikes out for the first out here in the first inning. So might that be a bit of a confidence builder for Mark Beauclair after back-to-back walks? He was erratic in that AB with Candelas, the 2-2 pitch that missed high and tight and went to the backstop. Here's Joe DeLuca now, homered in his first at bat earlier today. Handling the catching duties in game 2, the 1-0. Waved at and missed. It's a good off-speed pitch that Beauclair has if he's able to command the fastball. That pitch, particularly to left-handers, can be dangerous. Saw him get Candy out with a similar pitch a moment ago, fading away from the right-hander, but with a solid fastball. That off-speed pitch in on the hands of a lefty could be a weapon for him as well. The 1-1 goes to the fastball, but he just can't locate it. Seems to be, at the moment, the only thing that Beauclair has control of is the off-speed stuff. Might see him start to pitch backwards, let the off-speed stuff set up the fastball. This isn't a guy you want to miss with a fastball, too. Missed high and away, 3 balls and a strike. Tino Vincelli is awaiting on deck. We saw Kodai Hamaya miss with a fastball to this guy earlier today, and it ended up 390 feet into left center field. 3-1. He got a fastball, but he cranks it to second base. They will get it out at first. So DeLuca will get an RBI, his 3rd of the day. And the Blue Sox have knotted things up in a run apiece. Surprised, in all honesty, that DeLuca was swinging on that 3-1 pitch after the control problems that Beauclair's had. And you can see that he's still using that digger to try and drive into the cleats to get some of that condensed mud out from underneath his footing. So here's Vincelli. He takes high on the first offering that he sees. You'd imagine both Keith Ward and Tony Harris would like to get their starters through the lineup at least once before going to the bullpen. The Cavalry have quite a few more players available than what Sydney do in this exhibition doubleheader today. Many of those to come out of the bullpen potentially for Canberra. As the 2-0 misses low, 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 rather missing. It's now 3-0. And if you're Sydney right now, you're, I think, probably waiting until Beauclair can prove he can throw you 2 strikes. Keep the bat on the shoulder. He missed high inside here, and it's a 4-pitch walk. And we may see a little bit of stirring in that dugout for Canberra. And that there are 2 outs here in the first inning. No mound visit just yet. No immediate danger of anyone popping up to head to the bullpen. There he delivers a first pitch strike to Antonellis. walked and scored, had a base hit in the day's earlier game, did Evan Antonellis. He was hitting second on that occasion. He's moved down to the 6th spot of the order. This one lined and caught at second base by Camorley. Perfectly positioned, throws up his glove and makes the catch. And Mark Beauclair pitches his way out of trouble. As a chat with Robbie Perkins as they head back to the dugout. And as we head to break, have a look at the snag by Camorley at second base. One apiece as we head to the second inning. Sun starting to set at Blacktown International Sports Park, approaching the 7 o'clock hour on what is, for all intents and purposes, been a beautiful Saturday afternoon. A bit warm. 34 degrees, officially the top in Sydney's west today, but we are getting down to a very tolerable temperature, I must say, as the shadows start to creep in. The shadow has basically overtaken the entire grass portion of the infield. There is still some sun poking through some trees the infielders might have some trouble with. Mark Zhang leading things off for Canberra here in the second inning. They played it a run after the leadoff man, Andrew Moritz, reached back in the first inning. Atherton thought he had a strikeout. Wasn't happy with the home plate umpire there on the 0-2 pitch. Didn't get the call. Tim goes back to work. The 1-2. Off speed pitch. Off the end of the bat. And it'll drop for a base hit. Perfectly placed by Zhang. Vincelli looked like he had every opportunity, but you cannot place a baseball better than Zhang just did. And it's back-to-back innings in which the Cavalry have put the leadoff man aboard. Have a look at this. Couldn't draw it up any better. Off the end of the bat. Nothing on it. Absolutely nothing the Bluesox first baseman could do about it. First step was maybe mildly in, but I think even if he breaks correctly, he's still going to end up half a step short of where he needed to be. It's a perfectly placed baseball. Here's Jalen Greer now. He swings first pitch and spoils this away foul off toward the right side. Greer, a 22-year-old native of Chicago, Illinois, was an Oakland A's draft pick, 5th round back in 2019. Has bounced around somewhat, played 3 seasons in the minors for the Oakland Athletics. 1-1 pitch. Hammered through the hole between short and third, and it's back-to-back singles, exactly what Canberra did in the first. They've replicated here in the second. Zhang and Greer both reaching. First one, a looper over the head of the first baseman. That one, a hard-hit ground ball through the hole. And here's Jack Middleton now, the right-handed swinging left fielder with potentially an opportunity to give Canberra the lead back. Middleton swinging first pitch and spoiled that away foul. First time that we've seen Jack in a Cavalry uniform since 2021. Now 30 years of age. All up, has played a total of 12 games for Canberra. Those split across 3 different seasons. Waves and misses at a fastball at the letters, and it's quickly 0-2. Made his debut for the Cavalry back in 2019 at 25 years of age. Had 5 plate appearances that season, and a smattering of appearances in 2020 and 2021. He'll appear down to first base. Did he go around? He did. First strikeout of the evening for Tim Atherton, much needed as well. Runners at first and second base, and there's one away here in the top of the second inning. You can see Atho, as I was speaking about, just trying to get that clumped clay out of the dirt. You can see a pile of it just to the right of his right foot. It appears to be where Mark Mauclair has been emptying the clay from his cleats. So a bit of a clump starting to appear behind home plate. You can see that's why each of our 2 starting pitchers are trying to work their way through it. Like I say, you can imagine on a hot, dry day like today, you want to ensure that the mound holds up for 9 innings of baseball, so you may give it that extra 10% prior to the start of play. Fastball that was in for a called strike. Camorley didn't like it. And it's 0-2. Sam Camorley made an outstanding leaping grab at second base to end the home half of the first. Long look from Atho, the 0-2. Fastball hit toward the left side. Giving chase over there is Kim, and he can't get to it. The sun may have come into play. We saw that happen with Cam Warner earlier today. Kim drew a bead, but it is a tough sun field in left. And he's put it down to load the bases with one away. Have another look here. He seemed to have drawn a bead. He did. But it's the toughest place to be on an afternoon in Blacktown is left field. It's the only part of the field where the sun is tough. I suppose for a third baseman at about 5 o'clock it would be similar. But everyone else on the left side of the defensive field is shaded from the sun except for the left fielder who's staring right into it. We've seen that become a factor twice today, once at the peril of the Cavalry and this time for the Bluesox. It's Andrew Moritz, who's already singled and scored so far today, hitting for the second time. A chance to give the Cavalry another lead. The 0-1. Off speed, popped him up. Will it stay in play? Austin giving it a look, and it's just out of the reach. Over into the beer garden. And he'll live to survive another pitch. No balls and 2 strikes. Big spot here. Bases loaded, 1 out. The 0-2. Got him swinging. Moritz appeared to be looking fastball and was thrown off when Atho pulled the string. Sort of an awkward-looking swing on a 0-2 pitch when you expect to protect. Big strikeout for Atherton. He's got 2 in the inning. Bases loaded, 2 away. Here's Ed Howard. first from Atherton. Started them with an off-speed pitch. It's not a pitch that he throws much, that curveball. I'd say probably 10-15% of the time, but he loves to show it. Because now not only does he have Ed Howard thinking about it, he's got everybody in the Canberra Cavalry dugout knowing that it's a pitch that's working for him tonight. Buries this one in the dirt on the 0-1. Fastball, changeup, the bread and butter for Tim Atherton. He has such a good curveball, but like I said, he doesn't like to show much of it. With 1-1. Fastball on the outer part of the plate. Good pitch. Tim Atherton now just a strike away from leaving him loaded here in the top of the second. Was able to pitch his way out of trouble, allowing just the one run in the first. Can he do it again? The 1-2 went back to the curveball, didn't get the call. He was halfway back to the Bluesox dugout thinking that he had struck out the side and left him loaded. Instead, it's 2-2. The next, off speed again, softly hit toward third, and they'll get the man at second base. Good work by Tim Atherton. The Cavalry load him up with one away. A strikeout on the ground ball leaves him loaded. Canberra have left 4 through 2 innings. Let's go to the home half of the second inning, 1-1.
Leading off the bottom of the second innings for your Sydney Bluesox is the left fielder, Lyndon Kim.
7, 8, and 9 due up in the home half of the second inning for Sydney. Game tied at a run apiece in our second of 2 games. Beautiful day for a double dip in Blacktown. The final tune-up for these two teams before they get to play each other again. This will be the 4th time they've played each other in 2 weeks, and they'll play each other 4 times in 3 days next weekend. They'll be sick and tired of the sight of each other. Opening day next Friday night. Hard to believe it's come back around so quickly, but what a time to be alive. Summer in Australia, and the ABL is back. 2-1 pitch here. Hit foul. It'll be Kim, Austin, and Max Brennan, the 3 due up. Though I have a sneaky suspicion that Tony Harris is going to hit 10 in the lineup in this second of 2 exhibitions. I could be proven wrong, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Payoff to Kim, and he walked him. It's 4 walks now for Mark McClare. He's really had some command issues, particularly with the fastball early. In that first inning, the only thing really looked like he was throwing with confidence was the off-speed stuff. Just see his mind sort of working and ticking over. You wonder if Robbie Perkins will maybe direct him to pitch backwards when it looks like a fastball is coming inside. Good pitch. So here's Mitch Austin. Did have an RBI single in the day's earlier game. We'll check on the runner over at first, and the ball gets away. Over the fence it goes. It'll be an easy advance for Kim. And just seemingly nothing going right at the moment for Mark McClare. But he is ahead in the count on Mitch Austin. 0-1. Outside. You just get a sense that he's trying to overthrow the fastball at the moment. He's trying to force location. He's clearly not comfortable. He's fighting with his command. Runner is going. Throw high and on the money. Kim got a pretty good break, but a fastball and a strong throw, one that was on the money from Robbie Perkins, is exactly what the doctor ordered. And despite giving up the leadoff walk, McClare has now erased the base runner. There's just one away. And a 2-1 count now on Mitch Austin. Well, he just is having so much trouble with that fastball at the moment. Delivered a beauty on the initial offering of the at-bat. Hasn't been able to locate it since. 3-1 pitch. Lost him. Inability to command the fastball. Potentially playing on his mind that he doesn't want to throw the off-speed stuff. Like I say, trying to force command with that inside fastball he delivered on the first pitch to Austin. Looked like maybe he found his groove, but then 4 consecutive pitches, all fastballs, outside of the zone. You feel for him. It's a bit tough to watch at the moment. He doesn't have it tonight. The 1-0 missing high and tight, and it's now 2 balls and no strikes. There is some limbering, you can say, that's starting to occur in the Canberra Cavalry bullpen. And you wonder how long Keith Ward can keep a guy out there when he's fighting with his stuff as much as Mark McClare is. Fastball that he's able to get over for a strike. It's 2-1. I am surprised that he's throwing so many of them. That one missing in the dirt. It's now 3 balls and a strike. And when you see a guy missing in the various different locations as he is, it's because he's just continually trying to compensate to figure out what's going on. He's missing high, he's missing outside, he's missing low. Swinging on 3-1. The throw down as the runner goes, and they got him. Boy, the Bluesox potentially running themselves out of an inning. That's 2 caught on the base paths. With the pitcher fighting his command. That's Robbie Perkins picking up his pitcher, throwing out 2 on the base paths. And a 3-2 pitch upcoming. Outside, ball 4. So one of the strangest innings you'll see. 3 consecutive walks to begin the inning. Yet there's 2 outs and only a runner standing atop first base. can understand Tony Harris and the Blue Sox potentially wanting to be aggressive, trying to get in the head of the Cavalry, potentially some games of cat and mouse. Again, these two teams will have now seen each other 4 times in 2 weeks. They'll see each other 4 times next weekend. Maybe Tony trying to plant the seed in Keith Ward's head that, hey, we're going to run a little bit. They potentially run themselves out of what could be a lead here in the home half of the second inning. Here's Max Brennan. He is the 10th man in the order, so my suspicion that Tony Harris was going to bat through to 10 have come to fruition. It's exhibition baseball. You can do what you want. The 0-1. Brennan swinging, and it's a base hit in the left field. It'll be a 2-out single. He'll advance to second on the throw. And then what could have been an RBI situation, Brennan ropes a ball down the left field line. That the Blue Sox still nothing to show for it. Good piece of hitting. Got a pitch up in the zone that he could drive, and it falls in front of Middleton and left. Rightfully so. The Blue Sox hold the runner at third base. You see Brennan just advancing to second base. Good heads-up base running as the throw trickled in to the infield. So now it's up to Ikeda. Swinging first pitch. He spoils this one away foul off toward the right side. All 4 men that have come to the inning, or come to the plate of the inning, have reached. Yet no one has scored. And there's 2 outs. Nothing in 1. Fastball that missed high. 1 ball and 1 strike. No doubt would be a frustrating inning if the Blue Sox are unable to cash in with 2 outs. The 1-1 to Ikeda nearly hit him. But again, like I say, these are the things that you can do in exhibition contests. Start the runner, see what happens. They've challenged Robbie Perkins twice, and twice he's risen to it. 2-1. Tried to check his swing, did Ikeda, but no need to even appeal. He did go around. It's 2-2. This would be a story to tell for Mark Beauclair if he can get out of the inning unscathed. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 in scoring position with 2 outs. The next to Ikeda. On the ground, a 2-hopper to the right side. Kimorley on to first base, and the Cavalry get out of it. 3 walks, a single. The Blue Sox strand a pair. And it'll go back into the field empty-handed. What a strange inning. Exhibition baseball. Hey, let's go to the third. It's 1 apiece. top of the third inning in Sydney. Cam Warner getting set to lead things off. Wherever and however you are accessing our broadcast tonight, thanks for doing so. My name is Andrew Reynolds. It's a pleasure to be hanging out with you. Warner swinging first pitch, and he pops it up into left field. Coming in quickly out there is Kim. No troubles with the sun now, as you can see just about the entire field is shaded. You can see some streams of sunlight continuing to poke through. Kim does still have the shades on, but no issue corralling that one. One pitch and one away. Good start to the inning for Tim Atherton. So here's Robbie. He flied out to right field back in the second inning. Rather, it was the first inning. Inning in which the Cavalry pushed their lone tally across. The Bluesox were able to match that lone run, the home half of the first. The 1-0. Good pitch. Fastball for a called strike, count even. One. Tried to check his swing. They'll appeal, and he went. You'd have to think that Robbie Perkins, from a Team Australia standpoint, is still got some longevity left. There are a few young catchers up and coming that potentially could take that starting catching position away from him for Team Australia, but I don't know that it'll be anytime soon. 2-1. Popped up right side. It is slicing, and we'll get out of play foul to even the count 2-2. We're just about bang on 12 months to the start of the 2024 Premier 12 competition. Most likelihood Australia will be a part of, and we would think Robbie Perkins would be a good chance to be the catcher on that team. This one's poked off the end of the bat, on the ground to Aikita, and there's two away. But I mean, a World Baseball Classic team that was as successful as they were just some 8 months ago, probably not going to make a ton of changes, I wouldn't think, to early 2023 to late 2024. But there are some young players for Australia that are starting to knock on the doors. So there will be some questions that Australia manager Dave Nielsen will need to answer in that amount of time. And this will be a pivotal Australian Baseball League season for him in that aspect. 1-0 pitch to Campbell here. It's away, 2 balls and no strikes. I mean, in thinking about it, similar to the under-24 team heading to Japan for next weekend's Asia Professional Baseball Championship, it'll be a similar setup next season with the Premier 12. The Australian national team could be away for 2 weeks, could be away for 3, depending on how far they advance in that competition. Swing and a miss here for Campbell. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Remember, they did make it all the way to the Super Round as part of the 2019 Premier 12, did Australia. Actually beat the United States in that competition. Some big names on that team as well, that U.S. team. 2-2 pitch. On the ground to Aikita, should be the inning. A good 1-2-3 frame for Tim Atherton, his first of the night. Made easy work of the middle of the order. Let's go to the home half of the third through 2.5. Tied at 1 apiece.
All right, guys, just a little bit more fun. Roll up a little bit more fun. Got a couple of squishy balls here. If I can feel squishy balls in the basements. Okay, let's do a huge attack on my stuff. That's all right now. If you ever want these squishy balls in the 7th innings, I mean, people are shocking. If they do, you can sign on to a better than Ken does have. Those balls that they must catch the ball. You don't catch the ball on a system, turn the ball back down, or give someone else a chance to catch it. Hold on to it to the 7th innings, and then you get the hitting, you win the sign better than Ken does now. Back into the stage, young boys. Back into the stage.
Nice grab. Snag.
Home half of the third inning, 1 run apiece. Funky Phil doing what Funky Phil does, getting the crowd up and about. It's good to see Phil. It's been a couple of years since I've seen the great man. He's as good as ever at what he does. It is a good crowd. A lot of young kids at the ballpark tonight with mom and dad getting an ice cream cone, chips on a stick. A few folks enjoying a beverage behind home plate. What a night. Looks as though the weather gods will turn it on for us next weekend as well, whenever these two teams do it for real in the first round of the regular season. Called strike that will bring Solo McGuire back. He was almost certain that he was heading to first base with a walk. 6 walks through 2 innings for Mark McClare, and the Blue Sox have only the 1 tally to show for it. Make it 7 walks as McGuire will scamper down to first base to lead things off here in the third. The game's not being officially scored, so we don't have pitch count numbers on McClare, but you would imagine being in the third inning, that being the 4th walk, it'd likely be somewhere in the 50s, I would imagine. You just wonder, being an exhibition contest, obviously if you're Keith Ward, you want him to find his feet. You want him to feel like he has a little bit of confidence. It's a 1-1 game. But you'd like to leave him out there long enough to where he can find his stuff and leave with a good taste in his mouth heading into the regular season next weekend. Here's David Candelas, who takes a called strike. He does have a bit of life on that fastball. He just hasn't been able to locate it tonight with consistency. And there he hits Candy. Threatened to do that the last time Candelas came to the plate back in the first inning. Ended up striking him out. But here he's hit by the pitch. I think if you're Keith Ward and the Canberra Cavalry, you've got to start thinking about going to get McClare. He just doesn't have it tonight. David Candelas was not best pleased, I think, is the way to describe that. He sort of glared back at McClare on his way to the first base bag. But if you're Sydney, you've got to make him pay. A walk and a hit by pitch. They ran themselves out of potential runs last inning. And they stranded 2 of those walks aboard back in the first. Blue Sox have left 5 through 2 innings. You got to take advantage when the pitcher's giving you free passes. I'm feeling DeLuca was trying to make it a 3-run ball game with that swing. 1-1. Joe does have the lone RBI. He grounded out to push a run across back in the first inning. And here he bounces one to second base. It could be 2. The turn at shortstop. Was it in time? No. Camorley did his best to get it out of the glove. It was a strong turn by Greer, but DeLuca, I tell you what, for a cleanup hitting catcher gets down the line well. And he avoided the double play there. It'll be runners at the corners with one gone. So one away, men at the corners. Here is Tino Vincelli. Walked back in the first inning and was left standing atop first base. Here he fouls one off the hands. Back to the backstop. It'll be 0-1. 7:30 first pitch on Friday night next week, the 18th of November. Cavalry, Bluesox. Why not? This one popped high in the air toward the right side. Will it stay in play? Zhang giving it a look, and he's there to make the catch. Some temporary fencing over there at the moment. They're in the process of putting in some netting and some other things over there, so it's a bit haywire at the moment, but Zhang did a good job of navigating all of that. He'll come right in your lounge room to make the catch. Is Mauclair going to get away with it again? Antonella swinging first pitch. Zhang again, foul territory, makes the catch, and the inning is over. A walk, a hit by pitch in the inning. He's walked 7 so far tonight. And the Blue Sox strand another pair. All up, they've left 7 through 3 innings so far tonight. It's been a weird ball game, but we're tied at 1 apiece as we go to the 4th in Blacktown.
Leading off the top of the 14 for Canberra, it's the first baseman, Mark Zhang.
Mark Zhang set to lead us off at the top of the 4th inning. 1 run apiece. Blue Sox and Cavalry doing battle for the 4th time in a couple of weeks. Zhang swinging first pitch, and he's got himself a base hit. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Led off the second with a single, and he leads off the fourth with a bit of the same. Like his approach, Mark Zhang. He's looked confident at the plate the both times we've seen him. He didn't play in game 1 earlier today. See ball, hit ball. Right back to where it came from. Leadoff man aboard here is Jalen Greer. Greer singled as well. He and Zhang led off the second with back-to-back base hits and were both left stranded. Atherton was able to work his way out of trouble. Timmy's night has come to a close. You can say it was a serviceable appearance in his final tune-up before the regular season. 3 innings of 1-run baseball. The 0-1 to Greer. Tried to check his swing, and he did indeed. He peeled down to the first base umpire and said that he did not go around. It's an interesting assortment of players for the Cavalry this year. You think about wells that they've dipped in for players. For instance, Jalen Greer, a 22-year-old of the Oakland Athletics organization. We don't get a lot of Oakland A's prospects in Australia. He was released from his contract with Oakland back in 2022 and has spent some time in the Frontier League since. Also played 40 games this past summer in the Northern Hemispheric summer in the MLB Draft League for the Williamsport Crosscutters. Still a young man. I mean, it's something that you always have to consider with some of these young prospects. I mean, this is a kid that was drafted in the 5th round back in 2019 at 17 years of age. He's been in professional baseball for 5 seasons, and he's 22. His entire baseball life still ahead of him. 3-2, this one on the ground. Could be 2. They go to second for 1. The turn by Aikida is not in time. Greer gets down the line well. So they do get the lead runner. A bit of speed on the base paths now for the Cavalry with 1 away, and Jack Middleton will stand in. First to Middleton. Good fastball. Swung on and missed. He struck out when we saw him back in the second inning. Oh, 1 pitch, runner going. DeLuca's throw down. In time, got him. We have seen 3 attempted steals in the ball game, and they've all been caught. Robbie Perkins did it twice a couple innings ago, and this is a bullet from DeLuca. And they nailed the speedy Jalen Greer at second base. Well, for some inefficiencies we've seen elsewhere in terms of teams' abilities to cash in tonight, we have seen some outstanding fielding as far as catchers are concerned. Robbie Perkins and Joe DeLuca. It's a bit of anything you can do, I can do better at the moment. You love to see it. And now the Bluesox a strike away from getting out of the inning. Good pitch on 1-2. Missed just low. 2-2. Way down and missed on the 2-2 pitch. Middleton down on strikes for the Second time tonight, the Blue Sox face the minimum. Let's go to the home half of the fourth. Still one apiece in Blacktown.
How many out of the 5 Bluesox coaches have represented Australia? How many? No? Wrong? Alright, somebody else going to ask that question. You got to name within 10 seconds on the count of my fingers. You got to name 3 Bluesox players, first and last name, and current Bluesox players. Current. Ready, set, go. Oh, first baseball game. Let's interpret for us. It's your first baseball game. You have a singer. Yeah, for the first baseball game, that gets a play. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who can name? Oh, yeah, cool, no. 2 Bluesox players in 10 seconds. We're going to pick the mic here. And first and last name of 3 Bluesox players. Current.
Home half of the fourth inning. Kim leading things off for the Blue Sox. Mark Moclair coming out for his 4th inning of work. One 0 pitch missing high. Now 2 balls and no strikes. I tell you what, you got to give credit to the Cavalry coaching staff. They're showing faith in this right-hander who really hasn't been able to command his fastball tonight. He's walked 7. He's in danger of walking the leadoff man for his 8th free pass of the night to lead off the 4th, and he will. But if you're Keith Ward and that coaching staff and Moclair's figuring as part of your starting rotation and he's having an off night, you keep him out there to try and get that confidence up. We're only a week away from the start of the regular season. You don't want him walking off the mound, contemplating whether or not he can throw strikes heading into next weekend. So you can understand why they're leaving him out there, but it's a bit hard to watch at times just seeing a guy struggle as mightily as Moclair is tonight. Mitch Austin takes a called strike on the first that he sees. Austin walked back in the 2nd inning. And if you're Sydney, this is really a time to focus. Make him throw you strikes and try and cash in. It's a team that stranded 7 base runners through 3 innings. They've had opportunities. They ran themselves out of a couple of potential runs in the 2nd inning. And were unable to cash in on a walk and a hit by pitch in the 3rd. 0-1 misses high. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Our good friend David Muggleton is asleep at the wheel, calling it 2-0. Not sure what he's doing in there, our fearless leader. Producer director of Spacequake Sports. Be the producer director of all home games for the Sydney Blue Sox this year. It's great to have David in New South Wales. The team is good at what they do. Runner going, and for the first time tonight, a stolen base. Kim's able to get there without bother. Tough one for Robbie Perkins. It was an off-speed pitch that missed inside. He had to first scoot away from the hitter. I don't think he even knew that the runner was off. It's tough. Lefty at the plate, off-speed pitch. You're hardly ever going to throw that guy out. There's a fastball that spoiled away foul off toward the left side. It's 2-2. Montclair does have a strikeout tonight to go along with those 8 walks. Could we be looking at his second, the 2-2 pitch? Spoiled away foul again. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Austin walked and was caught stealing earlier tonight. Same could be said for Kim, and he is, I suppose, somewhat redeemed himself by walking and actually stealing that bag a couple of innings later here in the 4th. He scampers into your screen. The 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. That'll do something for the confidence for Mark Montclair. Second strikeout of the night. He got David Candelas swinging back in the first. And there's one away. So a walk and a strikeout. Here is Kai McIntosh Walsh, who walked and was left stranded at third base back in the 2nd inning. The first to him is swung on and missed. You can start to see a little bit of confidence building from Montclair. You send him back out to face the bottom third of this order, +1, as the Blue Sox are batting 10 in this exhibition contest. This could be a big inning for the confidence of Montclair. You're starting to see that fastball, albeit that one slightly elevated. It's much more around the mark than what it was a couple of innings ago. And that can be an important ending to this outing for him, leaving with a bit of confidence. The 1-1. That one got away. Perkins tried to keep it in front. Kim will be easily able to advance to third, and the Blue Sox again have the potential go-ahead run just 90 feet away. So let's see what young Kai McIntosh Walsh can do here. 2 balls and a strike. Good fastball. That was well located. Just on the outer third of the plate. And the second 2-strike count of the inning. Haven't seen many of those tonight. Two, got him looking. And boy, is Robbie Perkins pumped for his hurler. You could see it in the body language of Robbie as soon as the pitch crossed home plate and he got the call. That's exactly what this Cavalry team are trying to do right now. They know he doesn't have his best stuff, but they're trying to pump him up to end on a high note. Well, he's gotten back-to-back strikeouts after the leadoff walk. And if he can retire Max Brennan, it'll be 4 innings of 1-run baseball. And he delivers a called strike in the first to Max. So despite the 8 walks, he's got a chance to get himself out of damage again. Brennan spoils this one away foul off toward the right side. That'll get out of play, and it's 0-2. And somehow, despite all of his struggles tonight, Mark Montclair is a strike away from getting out of the 4th inning and sending us to the 5th with a 1-1 ball game. It's been quite miraculous. The 0-2 to Brennan. Popped him up right side. That one slicing foul again and will again get out of play. See a little bit of early action down in that Blue Sox bullpen. I can tell you that there is a lefty up and warming in the Cavalry pen as well. You would think this would be the final inning for Montclair one way or the other. 0-2, got him chasing. Perkins will have to throw down to cash it in, but what work by Mark Montclair. Nowhere near his best stuff tonight. Hugs and hand pounds from his catcher, but he strikes out the side after walking the leadoff man, and we've likely seen the end of him tonight. But resilient stuff from the Cavalry starting pitcher. Let's go to the 5th inning. 1-1 our score.
primarily, well, this is especially in like Dusseldorf, Cologne, Mainz, the Catholic ones in Germany. You get this. People dressed up in crazy costumes, and at 11:11 in the morning, the Carnival Festival begins. And by like 8 a.m., half the people are just wasted beyond belief. And yeah, it's mayhem, total mayhem.
Sounds awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, I dress up too sometimes, and then everyone goes like, "Oh yeah." Okay, you get off me.
It'd be hard to understand German anyways.
Well, so half of Cologne actually leaves on that day.
Yeah, I imagine.
It's just like,
I probably would as well. Get the hell out.
Just going to check my microphone. Sorry, everyone listening. Check, 1, 2. Check. To begin. Inside look at how broadcast production works. Just needed to check my microphone. Unique New York, How Now Brown Cow. Just doing my vocal exercises. Nothing to see here. Top of the 5th inning. Tied at a run apiece. Sam Camorley leading things off. He singled in his lone plate appearance back in the 2nd inning. We did not see Sam in the day's earlier game. Here he gets a hold of one, lifting it high into right field. Candy is there. It's been an adventure for Candy out there a couple of times tonight, but he made that one look as routine as it was. And there's one away here in the 5th inning. One away in the 5th inning. Here is Moritz, the leadoff man. Takes a called strike on the first that he sees. He singled and scored. He also struck out so far tonight. Was on base a couple of times in the day's earlier game. Here he flies one into center. Solo. A couple of steps behind him. Camps underneath. 2 away.
Now to bat the designated hitter, Ed Howard.
Couple of fly balls to begin the inning. One to right, one to center. Here's Ed Howard, former #1 draft pick of the Chicago Cubs organization back in 2020. Good off-speed pitch to begin the at-bat. 0-1. Been impressed with what I've seen from Howard. Playing in the DH role here in game number 2, but looks to play a pretty slick shortstop from what we saw earlier today. He's going to test David Candelas again. 3 up, 3 down. Good work from the Sydney pitching staff. They faced the minimum in each of the last 3 innings. We're halfway home. Let's go to the home half of the 5th. 1 apiece. Home half of the 5th inning, tied at a run apiece. Had to go give our main man David Muggleton a bit of a poke in the back to get him to update the scoreboard. Looks like he was having some strife. That's why we have exhibition games. It's not just for the players, it's for the rest of us too. Everybody deserves an exhibition. Reito Akita leading things off. It'll be the top third of the order for the Blue Sox. Akita, Solo McGuire, and David Candelas set to lead off the inning. New arm into the ball game for the Cavalry as well. I'll tell you what, you got to take your hat off to Mark McClare. Guy certainly didn't have his best stuff, nowhere near it tonight, but he can take a lot away from that. Credit the Cavalry pitching staff for leaving him out there, allowing him to work through those demons, and he strikes out the side in his final inning of work after what would have been a brutal first 3+ innings for him mentally, walking 8 hitters. Got some help from his catcher with a couple of caught stealings. Defense backed him up, and he left after 4 innings, only allowing just the 1 earned run from the first inning. Be interesting to see how he fares next weekend back here in Blacktown. 3-2 pitch. Spoiled off foul at home plate. We'll do it again. It'll be a 7:30 first pitch next Friday night. That's the 18th of November. It'll be opening day across the Australian Baseball League. You can say that Perth and Melbourne will have the curtain raisers. That ball game will get underway half an hour prior to the other two, that being Sydney, Canberra, and Adelaide, Brisbane. It'll be a 7 o'clock local time start in Adelaide, but 6:30 for those of us in Eastern Daylight Time. And then a Super Saturday right off the bat. 6 games across the 3 series. Be a lot of fun. Here's a bouncing ball toward third. Warner fields it on a hop, throws across, and they got him by a half a step. It's a tricky in-betweener for Warner. He came forward and then sort of had to back up. And if you see him as he throws this, he's actually throwing off of his back foot. He's able to just get enough on it. A good stretch by Zhang to go get the baseball, and they retire Akita for the first out here in the 5th. Here's Solomon McGuire now. He takes a fastball inside. Solo has walked a pair of times, and both times he's been stranded at third base. Big swing and a miss on the 1-0 pitch. Oh, really good pitch there. McGuire thought that was going to back up on him. You'd almost see him moving away from the pitch, and it ended up being a strike in the inner third of the plate. 20-year-old was quite fooled. There's another good pitch, painting the inner edge. And McGuire is down on strikes. First time he's been retired tonight, and there's 2 away here in the 5th. Two away, here is David Candelas. Second consecutive season in Sydney, and prior to that, his first since the 2015-16 season. Of course, made his way down to Canberra for parts of 5 different seasons, but started his career with the Sydney Blue Sox way back as a 19-year-old, and a base hit up the middle with 2 outs. Candy will extend the inning. He's aboard for the second time tonight. Good to see Candy back in Blue Sox colors and still kicking at 33 years of age. Hard hit right back up the middle, his first base hit of the night. And he'll give way for Joe DeLuca. DeLuca takes off the plate for ball one. DeLuca was briefly a farmhand in the Cincinnati organization, though strangely did only play 5 games across 2 different levels. Played 2 games at Single A, played a game in the International League at Triple A. This one's lined towards shortstop and a diving attempt by Greer, but he can't quite get to the baseball. Holy cow, that would have been some catch if Jalen Greer would have been able to snag that. Have another look. That would have been Joey Wong-esque. For those of you that go back several years in the ABL, there was a play that Joey Wong made in the ABLCS back in 2015. It looked an awfully lot like that. Greer was ever so close. So back-to-back base hits, hard hit, both by Candelas and DeLuca. Here's Tino Vincelli. Takes a called strike. Vincelli, 23 years of age, played his college baseball at Sacramento State. Spent 2023, or at least part of 2023, in the Frontier League, playing for Quebec. The 0-1. Big swing and a miss, nothing in 2. Waved at and missed. Perkins will tag Vincelli. And that'll be all she wrote for the 5th inning. We are cruising through 5. Let's head to the 6th. One apiece in our final exhibition tune-up before the regular season.
And after 5 complete innings, the score remains tied at 1-1.
All right, let's get into all the covers. Let's get into all the covers. Here we go.
I'm gonna try to find something wrong with something.
Here we go.
You feature on the mound for your hitting Bluesox, Drew Irvine.
Let's do all the trophies. So I'm going to give you the first person I saw dancing. I'm going to release you up here. The Bluesox shirt on. You get the colours on sale next week, guys, everyone. Can we get the colours?
Top of inning number 6 in a game that is moving quite quickly This fourth and final game of the KO Cup and our final tune-up prior to the regular season starting on Friday next weekend. We'll be right back here in Blacktown. We will not be on Spacequake Sports YouTube. We will be on Baseball Plus, the shiny new toy that the Australian Baseball League and baseball.com.au, the good folks over there, have been working tirelessly to launch. Looking forward to broadcasting on Baseball Plus next week. You can also hear our good friend Eric Ballner live and in color from Tokyo on Baseball Plus next week as Australia play in the Asia Professional Baseball Championship. I'll be tuned into that, as I know many of you will as well. How good opening round ABL baseball next weekend, plus Team Australian international competition. There's a base hit up the middle to begin things here in the sixth inning for Canberra. Hard hit off the bat of Cam Warner, and he's aboard for the first time in the ball game. Well, while I was rambling, Drew Irvine, one of the Pittsburgh Pirate imports, was taking his warm-up pitches and stands atop the mound. Getting our first look at him, he was a 19th round selection back in 2021 of the Pirates out of the University of Iowa. Played 3 seasons for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and has spent 2022 and 23 in the Pirates system. This one hit off toward the right side. Coming over is Candelas. He will give chase and give it a look, but it falls out of play. Of course, Tony Harris, the manager of the Bluesox, has had a long-time affiliation with the Pittsburgh Pirates organization as an international scout. So it makes sense for that affiliation to carry over toward players, and Pirates organization will have some of those players. And Blue Sox colors this season, Solomon McGuire, of course, one that makes a lot of sense. That one is hit to McGuire in center field for a base hit. Past a diving Antonellis at shortstop, and it's back-to-back base hits to begin things for Canberra. They're trying to break the deadlock here in the sixth.
Michael Campbell.
So Michael Campbell trying to do damage on his former team. He's roamed the outfield for several seasons here in Sydney, did Michael Campbell, and he can put his new team, the Canberra Cavalry, on top with a base hit here. Instead, he squares to bunt and pushes this one foul. That one took a crazy little lip off of the grassed area on the infield. It'll be 0-1. Next offering from Irvine gets away, and that will allow both Warner and Perkins to advance to second and third base. Campbell spent 5 seasons in Sydney, won that Rookie of the Year back in 2018. And just last year, 36 years of age, made the transition to the Cavalry. There's a swing and a miss. How to run the count to a ball and 2 strikes. Played in 28 of the Cavalry's 39 games last year, hitting .224. 15 base hits, one of those for extra bases. The 1-2. High and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. When you look back at that Rookie of the Year season that he had in 2018-2019, he hit .339 in 39 games. He's not had another season anywhere remotely close to that. It was a phenomenal year. There's a bouncing ball to short. The only play will be across the diamond to first. And that'll break the deadlock here in the top half of the sixth inning. Warner comes home to score. It'll be an RBI for Michael Campbell. And the Cavalry are on top once again. They took an early 1-0 lead. Sydney countered in the home half of the first with a run of their own, and the Cavalry have reclaimed that lead here in the top of the sixth. Robbie Perkins moving to third base on the play is 90 feet away from the Cavalry potentially adding another. Mark Jang's had a couple of good ABs. It was an awkward swing on the first delivery this time. Had a couple of really good at-bats. He singled a pair of times tonight. Once in the second, again in the fourth. He's found himself an affinity with these even number innings. There's another base hit. What do you know? 3 at-bats, 3 singles for Mark Jang. This one comes with an RBI as Perkins scored. And it's now 3-1 Canberra. Well, if they can get this kind of production from Jang, a first baseman, middle to low order, that's going to be a massive plus. I mean, he's done that 3 times tonight, right? It's been all hard-hit line drive singles, but he's 3 for 3. He's found himself aboard 3 times. That was his first time hitting it, not leading off an inning. And he drives in a run. They just need to put him on for him. Here's Jalen Greer now, who himself has been aboard twice tonight. Irvine tried to pick that one up from behind his back. Couldn't do it. Trickles into center, and another base hit. That's 4 singles in the inning now against Drew Irvine. Warner, Perkins, Zhang, and now Greer have all singled. Warner and Perkins have come home to score, but the latter 2 are now aboard at first and second with only 1 out. Greer couldn't have placed that base hit any better. As we'll get a quick meeting on the mound. Some funky tunes being bellowed out throughout the ballpark. Gotta love it. Well, Jack Middleton, he struck out a pair of times tonight. You know he would like to make up for that here. His team has already plated a pair here in the 6th inning. He could be the man that adds more. This one gets away. Perkins, or rather DeLuca, I should say, has some trouble picking it up. Each of the runners will advance. And now a prime RBI spot here for Jack Middleton, who's not looked necessarily comfortable in 2 at-bats so far tonight. Here now he has a chance to potentially drive in a pair and really blow this thing open. The 1-1 fastball that missed off the outer part of the plate. 2 balls and a strike. These are those situations where you just want to keep the line moving. Middleton doing a good job of staying patient here. The 2-1 missing high. And it's now 3 balls and a strike. Sam Camorley, right-handed swinging second baseman, awaits on deck. 3-1. Middleton swinging. And they might get the runner at third. They didn't. Everybody will be safe. Oh, it's always a risky decision. Sort of understand why Antonellis did it. He wanted to force that runner back to the bag. They thought they had him dead to rights, but instead Zhang's just able to slide back in under the tag. And because of that, the bases will be loaded for the 9-hole hitting Sam Camorley. It'll go officially as a fielder's choice, but Middleton reaches and the bags are full. And in some ways tonight, defense and base running has been what has let Sydney down. The first to Camorley, a fastball that misses away, 1-0. You get a look at it here, but he was definitely safe. He's back in time. You can see that right hand back on the bag before Austin was able to apply the tag. It's good work by our Spacequake Sports crew. This one's popped a mile high in the air. Who wants it? Aikita from second base. No infield fly was called. Probably could have been, but one way or another, the out's made. No damage done. And we'll turn things over to the top of the order. Real Pete Kozma vibes for anybody that remembers that National League wild card game. Pete Kozma, of course, a player that ABL fans would be familiar with, his time spent at the Perth Heat. You'll remember the infield fly, the infamous infield fly that was called in that wild card game. As this ball gets away, and a run's going to come home to score. So DeLuca couldn't find the baseball, and Zhang took a chance, came home to score, and it's now a 4-1 contest. The Cavalry have played 3 here in the 6th. I'm going to have to find when that was. You might be right. 2012 National League wild card game. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, go watch it. I'm a Cardinal fan, so I thought it was the right call. Doesn't mean it was. Which the Cardinals had won the World Series a year prior in 2011. And had an insane end of the season to even get into the wild card game in 2012. And then in that ball game, a infield fly was called when Pete Kozma he had to have been 70, 80 feet in left field. Infield fly was called. He dropped the ball. Atlanta fans lost their mind. There was trash all over the field. There was a 25-minute delay. In the end, the Cardinals won the game, advanced to the National League Division Series, and the Atlanta Braves did not. They've come good since, the Braves. Cardinals have not won a World Series since that occurred. Here's a great pickup at shortstop by Antonellis, and the throw across is in time. And the inning comes to a close. Well, an inning with some questionable defense ends with a dazzling defensive play. The Blue Sox now with some work to do. They trail by 3 as we go to the home half of the 6th.
All right, guys, all those people that got those tough squishy balls, all right, at the end of the Blue Sox batting, you're going to have the competition up above the third base dugout there. And once the top's in, you're going to have a game up
I
there. So
remember
if
it
you
was
want to
2012
choose
because I was an intern at a DC radio station.
just head up there.
We were watching that, and when that happened, like the entire sports department just got into a massive argument, and then it just spilled over into all the other departments. It was just screaming for like 10 minutes, and then someone just went, "Ah, shut up."
Back to shortstop, Evans and Snellis.
Home half of inning number 6, 4-1 Cavalry. Blue Sox with a bit of work to do. 6, 7, and 8. Due up, a fastball missing high and away. Well, I had to go back and watch it. I had to pull it up in the break, and it was indeed 2012. I didn't remember exactly how it had happened. I remember, I mean, granted, it was 11 years ago. I've slept a couple times since then. But it is as egregious if you go back and watch it now as it was whenever it actually happened. There's a liner toward the right side. It is not caught. But holy cow, what a job by Cavalry to get up, throw to first, and get the out. Antonellis is hard done by to not end up with a base hit here. Have another look. Hit on a rope. Cavalry nearly makes the catch in the air. He traps it, hops to his feet, fires a bullet, and gets the first out of the inning. A hell of a play by Cavalry and a great scoop by Zhang at first base as well. Good defense all the way around there for Canberra, one away. Antonelli is retired. Here's Kim. He takes a called strike. It was a 3-run ball game in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out. Mitchell Boggs was the right-hander pitching for the Cardinals, which I remember for some reason, unbeknownst to me. Can't remember the password to get into my own bank account, but I can remember that Mitchell Boggs was pitching when that happened in 2012. Here's a comebacker to the pitcher, snow-coned, turn and throw, and 2 quick outs on ground balls for Canberra here in the 6th. And as Cosma goes out into left field,
Now batting the third baseman, Mitch Austin.
it's almost like he didn't know where the ball was. He thought Matt Holliday may have called him off. When the ball falls to the ground, Holliday's putting 2 hands in the air going, I don't know what you're doing. And then, of course, from that point forward, all hell broke loose, for lack of a better term, in Atlanta. But I have fond memories of that as a Cardinal fan. I can understand how Braves fans would not. It was a called strike on the outer part of the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike. Just as I have fond memories of the 2011 World Series, which Rangers fans would have kept with them, that is, until 2023. They were finally able to get over the Nelson Cruz incident in right field. And David Freese breaking their hearts that night and the next. But I like to watch it on repeat. 1-2 pitch, pulled the string, swung out and missed. And a 1-2-3 inning for Canberra. Let's head to the 7th. Cavalry leading at 4-1.
All right, so anyone that have their squishy balls, come up here where I am now. You can see up here. I'm going to get me dancing. All right, so you got a chance to win the sign down in Canberra's hat. All right, so all the people with balls go up the end there, please. I can't really you two kids here. You'll get a hold on the balls. Okay, put them on the chairs here, and then put the end back at the end. So you're not trying to have second shots. I don't know what these kids are like. So you just grab the balls and then miss. All right, all people up there with the balls. Okay, so everyone's going to get a chance. If there's 2 people that hit me, then we're going to play off. All the person who hits me in the head will win automatically. All right, here we go. Who's going to go one at a time right up to the line so we can see what's going on? Get up there in the line there. All right, I'm not allowed to move. Here we go. Go. Try to hit me. No, it's got to hit me on the full. No bouncing. Next one. Next girl, let's go. Try and hit me. Oh, no, next person. Yeah, they get the ball, Jake. No, next. Yeah, come on, the only winner. Here we go. Hold on to that ball there. Someone else has got to hit me on this. She's going to be the winner. No, next person. No, next person, next person. No. Let's go, Knights. No. Let's hold on. The young fella may come a little bit closer. I think that's fair. You yellow fella, go, Hawkey. No, next person. I'm going to sit down a little bit bigger. Stay there. Go shoot. That next person. Looks like we're going to have a winner. No one else get balls.
Top of the 7th inning is upon us. Cole Chisel got a mention in the break as we were having a chat to our producer-director, David Muggleton, who has a bit of a hot take. He doesn't think that Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline should be played at any Australian ballpark in the 7th inning stretch. I think that there's probably some fans that would not agree with David, but he thinks it should be an Australian song. I don't mind the approach, but what would the song be? No one can agree on anything in this world. I doubt that any of us will agree what song should be played following Take Me Out to the Ball Game in Australia if we were to replace Sweet Caroline. Ed Howard leading things off. It'll be Howard, Warner, and Robbie Perkins, the 2, 3, and 4 men. Howard takes a called strike on the first pitch that he sees. And the 0-1. Spoiled away foul. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Howard so far tonight is singled. He's grounded into a force out, and he's flied out to right, officially 1 for 3. I'm saying Flame Trees, I think. Or any Cold Chisel, for that matter. I mean, this is coming from an American who's trying to pick an Australian song. There's a called third strike. Howard down on strikes for the first time tonight. Goes down looking, and there's one away to begin the 7th inning. I think Flame Trees or K-San would both be good options. Cam Warner's night has come to a close. Keith Ward starting to empty his bench somewhat. Allow some of these other younger, less experienced players chances to have a base hit prior to the season starting in earnest next weekend. This one's taken high and tight. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's having a chat with my new friend Kai and colleague here at the Sydney Blue Sox earlier today about the Christmas classic, How to Make Gravy. I think we could play that during the 7th inning stretch. Only during December. We don't want to get egregious and play it in November, or certainly not in January, but I could see How to Make Gravy being a hit in December. You'll have to go home and listen to it. I know what I'm talking about. Hello to those of you that are just tuning into the broadcast for the first time, and we're talking about How to Make Gravy. Great song. The 1-2. Good pitch. Just missed in the outer part of the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Paul Kelly classic. I was listening to it the other day. Got me in the mood for Christmas. Two pitch. Fastball that got away, high and inside. That'll run the count full, 3-2. Here comes the payoff. Spoiled away foul. We'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Let us know what you think, those of you that are watching via the Spacequake Sports YouTube channel. Let us know what if we were going to replace Neil Diamond and Sweet Caroline. I've got nothing against the song, but it's a Boston tradition that Australians have very much adopted. 3-2, spoiled away foul again. But I do agree with our producer-director, David Muggleton, that potentially we should look for an Australian classic to play in place of Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. Let's make it our own. This is a good one out at bat here in the top of the 7th inning. A third payoff pitch coming. And it's lined into right center field. It'll get down a base hit. Falls in front of David Canlis, who goes to scoop it up. And a 1-out single here in the 7th inning for the Cavalry. They look to potentially add to their 4-1 lead. was a great at bat. 8 pitches, fighting off a tough 3-2 pitch to get a 1-out single. So 1 away, 1 on. Here is Robbie Perkins for the 4th time tonight. He's flied out, grounded out, and is singled and scored tonight. Fastball in for a called strike. 7:30 local time, first pitch next Friday night. You can catch us on Baseball Plus. If you have not downloaded Baseball Plus, I would suggest you get onto that. Those of you watching us on the Spacequake Sports YouTube, that's hard to say 4 or 5 times fast. We will not be in that location next weekend. All ABL regular season games, at least those played in Sydney, will come to you via the Baseball Plus app. Head to the App Store on your Android or Apple phone. Download Baseball Plus, sign up for an account. Games are 100% free. And all the ABL action will be there all season long on Baseball Plus. 0-2 to Perkins. And it hit him. No, it didn't. It missed him. That was off the glove of the catcher. Looked from our angle as though Perkins was hit by the pitch. He's just able to wiggle his way out of dodge. Runner heads to second base, and it's now an RBI chance for the Cavalry catcher. The 1-2 coming to Robbie. Swung on and missed. It's a frustrating at bat for Robbie Perkins as he goes down swinging. 2 Ks in the inning. 2 gone now in the 7th. And it'll be Michael Campbell who will stroll to the plate for Canberra. Our good friend Phil Herden chiming in on the chat. Good to hear from you, Phil. It was good to hear your voice a couple of nights ago. That Adelaide Giants SABL broadcast that our friends at Spacequake Sports put on as well. I think horses is a must. I do agree with horses. A swing and a miss in the first 2. Michael Campbell is grounded into a force out. In fact, he's grounded out to third, short, and second tonight. He's just about run the gamut as the former Blue Sox outfielder. Nothing in 1. Missing just low. 1 ball and 1 strike. I do agree with you, Phil. There's some detractors for both horses and You're the Voice. But I think overall, universally loved songs. I was looking at a Triple M Top 100 Australian anthems of all time, and I was surprised to see, I don't know who compiled that list. I was looking into it, but clearly didn't look far enough. It's the 1-1 pitch is taken for a called strike. And K-San, by Cold Chisel, was voted by whoever as the #1 Australian anthem of all time, which surprised me. Good song. Did not expect it to be #1. Every day is a school day. Learn something new every day you wake up. Blue Sox trying to send us to the 7th inning stretch. The 1-2 coming to Campbell. High and away on a fastball. That'll even the count at 1-1. The 2-2. Hit opposite way, down for a base hit. It'll score a run. What a piece of hitting from Michael Campbell. That's twice today that he's burned his former team. With an excellent piece of two-strike hitting, he goes the other way, drives in a man, and it's a 5-1 Canberra lead in the top of the 7th inning. I've always had a lot of time for Michael Campbell. He's spent 5 seasons, parts of 5 seasons in Sydney. He made the move to Canberra last year, but I've always had time for him. He's never been the biggest guy, strongest, fastest, most powerful, but he's a guy that when he's up in a big spot, i.e. man in scoring position and 2 outs, you know you're going to get a good at-bat from him, and that's what we just saw. Speaking of good at-bats, this guy's put 3 of those together tonight. He's 3 for 3, 3 singles. And they've all been hard hit. Came around to score in that 3-run 6th inning as well. The 0-1. Off speed, taken high and away to even the count, 1-1. Looking ahead to the Bluesox half of the 7th inning, they will have the 9, 10, and 1 hitters. Isn't a misprint. The Bluesox are hitting 1 through 10 in the batting order in this second of 2 exhibition games. Why not? Won't be able to do it again, will he, Tony Harris? Zhang with a big swing and a miss on a 1-1 pitch. And it's now a ball and 2 strikes. I know it's an exhibition game, but the story of this game so far tonight has been Mark Moclair and the belief that the Cavalry coaching staff had in him. His team have now taken a lead. Swing and a miss. Zhang strikes out, and the inning comes to a close. However, the Cavalry do plate another run, and we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch, 5-1.
New pitcher on the mound for Cavalry, Jason Lott.
Bottom of inning number 7 at Blacktown International Sports Park in Rudy Hill. I will say I haven't been to the International Sports Park in probably 18 months. Some of the facilities that have popped up are fantastic. There's basically a physio-science building now across the street that's really funky. Really cool to look at. And there's also sort of a boutique hotel that's popped up right in the middle of Blacktown International Sports Park. It certainly wasn't here the last time I visited. And likely many of our listeners wouldn't have either. But tell you what, Blacktown International Sports Park is It's come up in the world. You'll have a chance to get out here next weekend. It's been a good crowd tonight. I imagine the crowds that we'll have next week. The weather's supposed to be nice here in the west of Sydney. If you don't have any plans, pack the car, get the kids. Come out and enjoy some ballpark fare, a couple of beverages, and watch some opening round baseball next weekend. We will be here, and you can be as well. If you can't be at the ballpark, we will have the broadcast for you on Baseball Plus. But if you can get to the ballpark, I say do that. Absolutely nothing better on a summer night than an evening at the ballpark. This one's bounced over the second base bag. Greer coming at grabbing, throwing, and got him. That's an unbelievable play from Jalen Greer in a full-out sprint to reach down, grab the baseball. Look how far he's come. He's on the outfield grass, over the second base bag, throws across his body, and they get him by half a step. That's an unbelievable play from the Cavalry shortstop. You won't see better. Wait, can I get that? Here's a liner over toward the right side. That one a little bit easier to take for the Cavalry second baseman. Lined right at him. Right place, right time. The look on his face showed that he might not have been expecting it. So 2 quick outs to begin things here in the home half of the 7th inning. Here's Raito Akita, the leadoff man, hitting for the 4th time. He walked and scored. He's also grounded out a pair of times. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Fastball that misses low and inside. 1-1. Can't get over the play from Greer. He plays a very deep shortstop as it is. Looking at him now, he's a half a step onto the outfield grass. That ball was directly over the second base bag. And it wasn't softly hit. Here's a bouncer toward the left side. This should be the inning. Good 1-2-3 inning for Jason Lott. Let's go to the 8th inning. Cavalry, very, very strong defensive in this 7th inning. We go to the 8th. It's 5-1. top of the 8th inning in Blacktown. 2 innings of exhibition baseball left, and the preseason will be done and dusted. It'll be time for the real thing next weekend. And how often do you see a player make an incredible play on one side and then lead things off the next inning? That's the case with Jalen Greer. I'm still reeling. That play that he made the last half inning. Unbelievable range to come from the outfield grass to field a ball behind the second base bag on a hop, throw across his body, and get the man by his step. It's unbelievable. I think the issue that the Cavalry potentially might run into is that they have 2 really good import shortstops. Obviously, Ed Howard, who is DHing in the nightcap tonight, and it's a good play at second base. The throw this time is in time. Got him. Aikida sliding under the outfield grass to make a play and retire the speedy Greer. This was no easy play either. I thought off the bat for all money that this was going to scoot through. And Aikida did a good job of just knocking it down first of all, sticking with the play and throwing on to get it. He even had trouble getting out of his glove, but he did make the play by half a step. Greer runs well. So one away here is Jack Middleton. Has struck out a pair of times and reached on that fielder's choice when Austin was sort of in 2 minds. Rather, it was Antonellis at shortstop that was in 2 minds as to whether or not he goes to first or to third. They went behind the runner at third base. He was safe, and it loaded him up. Ended up being a 3-run inning, and for all intents and purposes at the moment, that half inning is the difference in the ball game. The 0-2 to Middleton. Popped him up. That will get fouled out of play. We'll do it again. No balls and 2 strikes. So again, the schedule for tomorrow, or for next week, I should say. It's certainly not tomorrow. If they're doing back-to-back broadcasts for the first time in 12 months, I'm going to need a sleep in tomorrow, so there won't be any baseball. Bluesox and Cavalry will play game 1 of that series at 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time, local time here in Sydney next Friday night. The 0-2 to Middleton, fouled off the hands. And a Super Saturday coming up on the 18th of November as well. 6 games, doubleheaders across all 3 of those series. Bluesox and Cavalry will play game 1 of that doubleheader at 3:30. Game 2 scheduled for a 6:30 start time. And the series finale will be a 1 o'clock first pitch on Sunday afternoon. Bluesox will then travel north to sunny Queensland for the second round of the season before returning home in the first week of December, when maybe we'll get to hear how to make gravy over the loudspeakers once the calendar turns. The Bluesox will welcome in the Claxton Shield champions. Adelaide Giants will be in town December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. SydneyBluesox.com.au for all of your tickets and information needs. Like I said, if you fancy a trip out to the ballpark next weekend, I'm not going to talk you out of it. The weather is supposed to be phenomenal. The 2-2 to Middleton. Spoiled off foul again. He's done a really good job of sticking in this at bat. The other 2 series to start the season off next weekend will be the Perth Heat in Melbourne to take on the Aces. That game will start a skosh before the other 2. It'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time start. The Brisbane Bandits will travel to the Claxton Shield champion Adelaide Giants to begin their season in West Beach next weekend. 2-2 taken high, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Wonder what the weather's supposed to be like in West Beach next weekend. I reckon one of the coldest I have ever been in my entire life was on a summer night in West Beach, South Australia. Wind blowing in off the ocean. Not dressed for the occasion. It was freezing. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Middleton down on strikes for the third time tonight. And there are 2 away. I'm going to look it up. This time of year in West Beach is very deceiving. It could be 36 in the afternoon, and it's 9 degrees at night. So for those looking to head out to the ballpark next weekend to West Beach, it looks as though it'll be nice enough. Low of 13, top of 24. You see what I mean? That's quite the range. Anyone listening, Phil Herden, I know you're out there. Tell people to pack a jacket. They may not need it when the sun's out, but when it goes down, they will. I don't know, of all people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. DeLuca just rubbing off a bit of a mark here. Again, he will likely be one of the full-time catchers. You would expect that he and Jake Burns will probably split the catching duties. I imagine Burns potentially could catch the first game of doubleheaders on a Saturday. He won't be able to do so next weekend. Jake is overseas in Japan with that U24 side that's playing in the Asian Professional Baseball Championship. DeLuca did not catch, obviously, the first game today, but we are getting to see him behind the dish for the first time in the nightcap. Been impressed with what I've seen as well. He's thrown out a would-be base stealer, and his counterpart, Robbie Perkins, has done the same thing twice. Two-0 pitch to Camorley. Looked like it hit off his foot, and it did. Seen that a couple times tonight. Foul balls off the top of the foot that trickle into play. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Camorley so far tonight has flied out twice. He's also singled. He's 1 for 3, batting in the 9 spot. The 2-1. High and away, 3 balls and a strike. Andrew Moritz, leadoff man, is awaiting on deck should Camorley extend the inning. The 3-1. Fastball for a called strike, and the count's full. Three-two, swung on, hit high in the air. Aikita is there, a few steps onto the outfield grass, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Bluesox, they need to get busy, trailing by 4.
I could just feel you looking at me. And then as soon as the song came on, I could feel you. Touch it and reach out. Touching me. Touching me. Touching you.
Well, it's almost like Dave Bonham, the music man here at Blacktown International Sports Park, is listening to the broadcast because he just bellowed out Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline as we were having the conversation about what song would you replace that with. Dave decided to replace it with Itself. The crowd were loving it. Good crowd on hand at Blacktown International Sports Park tonight. They've been really involved. It's been a fun crowd and a fun night of exhibition baseball. Excited that we get to do it for real next weekend. Seems like only a couple of months ago that the Adelaide Giants were hoisting the Claxton Shield. And here we are back for 23-24. Bluesox, a team that went 12-27 last year. They'll be looking to make a push for the ABL postseason for the first time since the 2018-19 season. Two-two. Swung on and missed. Strikeout to begin the home half of the eighth inning. Now 5 consecutive that have been set down by Canberra pitching. Here's David Candelas now. After the strikeout of McGuire, it's the second time that Solo was K'd tonight. Candelas himself has been a strikeout victim, but he's also reached base twice. He takes the first for a ball high, 1-0. One out to Candy, that one missing low and away. 2 balls and no strikes. So after this weekend, the Cavalry and Bluesox will prepare for next weekend. It'll be mightily interesting to see what each of these two managers do with their starting rotations. I'm particularly interested to see those teams come out on Tuesday next week. Interesting to see how Tony Harris navigates having both Josh Geyer and Tim Atherton a part of this starting rotation. In reality, 2 guys that could be aces in this league. Just depending on how he wants to use them. Candy with a good piece of hitting. Knocks this one into right field for a 1-out base hit. Third time tonight that Candy's been aboard. Good piece of hitting. Went with a pitch over the outer part of the plate. Didn't try and do too much with it. Hit it to where it's pitched. The oldest line in the book. Here's Joe DeLuca. Looks to have shaken off that niggling mark that he had from last inning. It's a tough game being a catcher. DeLuca's been impressive. My first look at him today. Hit a home run into left center field on the first pitch that he saw. That was, of course, right-handed. He's hitting left-handed now against the righty. That was back in the first inning of the day's earlier game against the lefty Kodai Hamaya, the left-hander, who didn't do much wrong. That was basically the only bad pitch that he threw in his short start earlier today, a game in which the Cavalry led big early and held on late to win 10-7. Look as though they could be on their way to a sweep as they lead it 5-1 in the late stages of Game 2. It's a 1-1 that swung on and missed, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2. Low and inside, narrowly missing DeLuca. He's grounded out tonight, but he did drive in a run. He's driven in 3 all up in the doubleheader. Mentioned that 2-run bomb that he hit in the first in Game 1. Had another RBI in the first inning of the nightcap. He's also reached on a force and has singled. And is now getting intimately acquainted with the Flies here in Blacktown. Those that have never made the trip out here, you don't know what it's like until you're here, but they are ruthless. 2-2, spoiled away foul. We'll do it again. I hadn't been out to the ballpark in probably 18 months and made the walk from the Rudy Hill train station this afternoon, and essentially as soon as I turned left on the Eastern Road, it's almost like that's where the border is for the Flies that live out here. As soon as you turn left on the Eastern Road, they're right in your face. Joe DeLuca's learning that now. Goes out to get a pitch and lofts this high into right field. There is a play out there for Campbell. Runner retreats back to first base. That's David Cantless, and there's 2 away.
Now batting the first baseman, Tino Vincelli. Now batting the pinch hitter.
Two away, David Cantless aboard at first. Cavalry trying to send us to the 9th inning. First pitch strike, nothing in 1. Arms warming in each of the 2 bullpens. It looks like we'll have a pitching change for Sydney in the top of the 9th. And I imagine the same would be true in the home half of the 9th inning for the Cavalry. The 0-2. Low and inside. Perkins keeps the ball in front and keeps his old mate David Cantless aboard at first base. It's a ball and 2 strikes now. Mentioned the 12-27 record a year ago for the Blue Sox. It was an 18-19 season, a 1 game below 500. For the Cavalry, who finished 10.5 games back of Brisbane. Sydney were 17.5 games back when all was said and done last year. 1-2. This one whacked foul off and out of play toward the left side, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Two. Pretty good pitch. Just missing off the plate outside, and the count will run full. It's Evan Antonelli's spot due up. Whether or not he will be the one that hits, if the inning is to be extended, is yet to be seen. The payoff. Inside, ball 4. That'll extend the inning to the 6th spot of the order. It does look like it will be Antonelli's that'll hit for himself. Evan looking for his first base hit of the night. He's lined out, popped out, and grounded out. 0 for 3. hitting in the 2 spot earlier today. And here he's swinging first pitch, lining it into center. Coming on to make the catch is Moritz. It wasn't as easy as he made it look. Ball was hard hit. Antonellis is retired 0 for 4 tonight, and we will go to the 9th inning. Canberra Cavalry 3 outs away from an exhibition doubleheader series sweep.
We're going to meet me down here at the far end of the Bluesox dugout at the end of the game. And I'm going to let you on slowly. You got the places? Okay, and then we'll be able to get some autographs again for all the people that went here earlier on the Bluesox side of autographs. So we're going to line up just down here at the end of the game. And I'll let you on the field when everything's safe to do so. And you'll get the signed autograph of the Bluesox. And if you're fast, you're resting around the bases. All right.
New pitcher on the mound for the Sydney Bluesox, Josh Geyer. Leading off the top of the 9th inning for Canberra Cavalry, the center fielder, Andrew Mortis.
Andrew Mortiz leading things off, and he hammers a pitch to left field for the first out of the inning as we play in the top of the 9th inning. Thanks so much for your company on a Saturday afternoon and now well into the evening. It's been a lot of fun being back in your lounge room or your laptop or wherever you're following the ball game. For me, from a selfish standpoint, it's been a couple of years out of the game, and I'm very much happy to be back with a headset on and looking forward to the 23-24 Australian Baseball League season. Looking forward to seeing how this Bluesox team progresses. At the back of a tough year last year. Ed Howard hitting here with one away in the 9th inning, and the 1-0 is on the ground at second base. Picked up there by Akita and on to first. And 2 quick outs here in the 9th. Been impressed with what I've seen from Raito Akita. He's going to be fun to watch at second base. Very sure-gloved. Fascinated to see what happens with these 2 middle infielders in Canberra as well. Both Ed Howard and Jalen Greer, 2 guys that can definitely play. Howard played shortstop earlier today and is DHing in the nightcap, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Jalen Greer at shortstop. It's going to be quite the conundrum for Keith Ward to navigate for this season. I mean, I'm sure those guys can play elsewhere on the diamond, but if shortstop is each of their native positions. Potentially you move one of them to second base, but which one is it? Called, third strike. And that's a quick 1-2-3 inning, just what Sydney needed. Josh Geyer doing yeoman's work atop the mound. Let's go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Sydney trailing 5-1.
Okay, Bluesox fans, let's get behind our thinking Bluesox. Who rocks? Who rocks? Who rocks?
Worst things to get emails about.
New pitcher on the mound for Canberra, Cody Chesterton.
Loves a bit of screen time, doesn't he, Funky Phil? You saw him just walk by there, the resident clown here in Blacktown. I say that lovingly. I really like Phil. But he is. He's an entertainer. Really getting the kids riled up. And there's been plenty of them. A lot of youngsters coming after club baseball this afternoon. Love to see them running around the ballpark. It's been a really good crowd and a fun day of baseball. Look forward to doing it again next weekend here in Blacktown as we play in the bottom of the ninth inning. And at risk of the away team winning each and every game of this KO Cup. Sydney winning both games last weekend in Narrabundah. And the Cavalry have traveled up the Hume Highway and are 3 outs away from taking both games in Blacktown. Strangely enough, these are two teams that struggled mightily on the road last year. Sydney 5-15 away from home, and the Cavalry were 7-10. But each team has won both of their road games as part of this exhibition series. Here's a leadoff walk to begin things in the home half of the ninth. If you are just joining us, don't forget a 7:30 broadcast time on Friday night next week. These two teams will play the first game of the regular season. It'll be a double dip on Saturday. 3:30 start time for the first game of the doubleheader, 6:30 for game 2, and then a 1 o'clock first pitch on Sunday. Opening round of the Australian Baseball League season for 23-24. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to download the Baseball Plus app. Head to the App Store, Google Play, or on your Apple device, search Baseball Plus. Give it a download, sign up, and you'll be ready to go, completely free of charge. You'll be able to watch every Sydney Bluesox and Canberra Cavalry game via the Baseball Plus app. This 23-24 season. 1-1 pitch, missing a low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. Both Keith Ward, Tony Harris, they will have to finalize these rosters in the next couple of days. I imagine both Sunday and Monday will be busy for those two individuals. Tony seeing some of these imports for the first time. I mean, just arriving during the week. I'm sure the case is the same for Keith Ward and some of these Cavalry imports. It was a called third strike. There's one away here in the bottom of the ninth. Kids getting ready to run the bases following the conclusion of tonight's game. They'll head down and grab an autograph as well. There's a good off-speed pitch. The second offering to Kai McDonald Marshall. The count is now even, a ball and a strike. Kai's been hitting in the 9 spot. Blue Sox have been batting through to 10 in this second of 2 doubleheaders. McDonald Marsh fouls this one off toward the right side, and that's a ball and 2 strikes. It's good to see Josh Geyer, at least for 1 inning. It was a clean inning as well. It's a role that's very different to what he will obviously face during the regular season, as presumably the part of the starting rotation. I don't think it's too big of a leap to say that Josh Geyer is not going to be a relief pitcher for the Blue Sox. But Tony may surprise us. The 1-2. Inside out, a good piece of hitting there by Kai. And he's aboard for the second time tonight. May there be a little bit of 9th inning magic in the bats for the Blue Sox.
Now to that, the extra hitter, Max Brennan.
2 on, 1 out. Max Brennan will come to the plate. It's a really good piece of hitting. It was an inside pitch that he outed through the hole on the right side of the infield. First base hit for Kai so far tonight. And here's Max Brennan. He takes the first pitch that he sees off the plate for a ball. Max batting in the 10 spot. You don't see it a lot in professional baseball. We're seeing it tonight. One pitch, hit back up the middle, and that'll fall for a base hit. So all of a sudden, the Blue Sox, when there was nothing on, quiet out to begin the inning. A walk issued, back-to-back base hits, and now all of a sudden the top of the order is going to have a chance to potentially tie the ball game. Bases loaded, 1 out. Raito Akita, the leadoff man and second baseman for the Blue Sox, will stand in. A big fly could tie the ball game in the bottom of the 9th. It's an off-speed pitch that sort of tied up Akita. The 0-1 outside, 1-1. Boy, would this be something? Be a heck of a way to end a preseason campaign and get the regular season rolling if the Blue Sox could do something here in the home half of the 9th inning. 1-1. Good pitch. Painted the outer edge. Ball and 2 strikes. Crazier things have happened. The 1-2. On the ground, left side. Could be the game. Instead, a bobble at third base. They'll only get 1. A run does come home to score. It'll make it 5-2, but the Blue Sox are down to their final out of the night. If you're Canberra in that situation, you just want to make sure you get 1. You see sort of the double pump there, and then once that happened, there was no chance to get Akita at first base, but how many times tonight have we seen an overthrow from third to second? We've seen it at least twice. Can't afford to make that mistake in that situation, so get 1. And back your pitcher, here's Solomon McGuire now, who is the final hope for Sydney. with 2 on and 2 out. Still represents the tying run, men at the corners. The 1-0 to Solo. High and away, 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, signed that lucrative deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates a couple of summers ago. He's been over in the States, back home in Sydney, playing for his hometown Bluesox. Wouldn't it be something if he could muster up a big fly here to tie the ball game, albeit in an exhibition contest, but it'd be memorable. 2-1, missing inside, 3 balls and a strike. David Candelas awaiting on deck. On the ground, right side, this should do it. Throw on to first, and the ball game comes to a close. So the Blue Sox, they threaten in the ninth. They push a run across. They leave 2 on base. And as the KO Cup for 2023 comes to a close, all wins going to the road team. And the sweep from the Canberra Cavalry of the 2 doubleheader games this afternoon. A 10-7 win earlier today, and our final in the nightcap, the Cavalry 5, the Blue Sox 2. Well, that'll just about do it for us. For our entire Spacequake Sports team, David Muggleton, our producer, director, and his squad, my name is Andrew Reynolds, saying thanks again so much for your company. A couple of exhibition contests out of the way, and next weekend, it's baseball for real. Game 1 will come your way on Friday night, a 7:30 first pitch, and right here at Blacktown. If you can't be at the ballpark, catch us on Baseball Plus next Friday night and all throughout the season. Thanks again so much for your company tonight. We'll see you next weekend, but until then, so long and good night, everybody.